Hello everyone. So now we are on our chapter number 11 of the Python beginners tutorial where we'll be learning about collecting user input. Okay, so in this class we will learn that using what keyword we can actually collect the user input. Let's say if you do want any kind of information from the user and afterwards you want to print something with that particular input, how you will be able to do that, we'll be learning in detail over here into this particular chapter. So let's not waste time and let's get started. So over here on my screen, as you guys can see again at the same project, let's right click, let's go to new. And from here, let's create a Python file and I will name this one as user input.py. And now let's click on enter. And as you guys can see, now I do have this Python file where I can actually input all my characters. So in this particular class, we will be learning that how you will be able to collect information from a user. Okay. So for that, the first thing what I need to do is I need to name a variable. Let's name this variable as color and let's put the equal to sign. And also anytime you want to collect information from the user, we need to put a function known as input. Okay, so I'll just put a function as input. And once I put that, I will just put open parenthesis right over here. And now let's come down and let's click on print. And inside, I will just put the name of the variable. Okay. So over here, now, once ever I put input over here, and now if I just run this code, here you guys can see this here I do have an option where I can put out a number, or let's say I can just put out a string. And once I put out a string here, you guys can see that same string, or again if I just run this code, that same number will get printed and the code will get executed and it will be done. Okay. But here we need to understand that when we are collecting information from the user, we need to give them a command, like what kind of information that I am trying to receive from them. Okay. Let's say I am going to give them a command in form of a question. Okay. So I need to make them ask a question or ask for some information, exactly what I'm looking from them. So to provide that, to ask that question here, once I type input in the variable, I need to make sure that I go to the parenthesis, which I do have created. And here I will create the double quote. And now I will type the question like write a color name. Okay, so I'll just type write a color name. And now what I can do is I will just give this a column and I will just give it out a space. And here you guys can see that now I'm asking them a question right over here. So now let's kill this one. And after that, now again, let's run this particular code. And over here, you guys can see in my console, they're asking me a question. And over here now, if I just type red, let's say if I just type red and I click on enter, here you guys can see I'm getting the answer of red right over here. Okay, so now as you guys can see, whatever information I am providing over here, the same output I am getting right over here as well. Okay, but from here now, let's say if I want to tell that red is his favorite color. Okay, if I want to type that thing, I need to make sure that I do add over here on my string, which we do have learned in our string classes. Okay, so for that, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come here and now let's come to this particular position. And from here, now I will just give this up a space. And here I will just put out the plus sign. And after putting the plus sign, I will just open parenthesis, or I will just open my double quotation. I will just type is his favorite color. And also if I do want to provide a spacing, let's put plus. Let's come here in between. Now let's give this up a space, and over here now let's run this code, and here they're asking me this question, which is write a color name, and let me put white. Okay, so I will just come here and let me just type white. I'll click enter, and here in answer it's showing me that white is his favorite color. So over here I am just getting the full information. So now over here, let's see that I can basically add different kind of input. Okay, so I will click on Control C. Let's come here and let's click on Control V, and let me just change this variable to name. Okay, so I will just type write your name. Okay, so here you will be able to ask multiple questions, and accordingly you will be able to set that what all do you want right over here. So let's come here and I will now type name. I'll just give it up a space. Let's put plus, and I will just type favorite color is, and I will just put another plus sign. And as this one is a string, I will just put double quote over here and a double quote over here as well. And what I'm gonna do is I will come here and I will just type a variable which is color. Okay, so I will come here, and as you guys can see I do have two variables. And also what you guys can do is you guys can come here and you guys can put out a plus, and now let's put double quote and space. Let's come here, and over here also let's put a space, and over here I will just put out a plus sign as well. Okay, so as you guys can see now here, let's try to run this code, and first I will put my color name. Okay, so let's put black. Let's click on enter, and now I'll write my name, and here you guys can see John favorite color is black is getting printed. Okay, because over here now I do have my variable, and I do have the spacing in between. I do have this particular string, and also I do have the spacing which is being added with the last variable in color. Okay, so you can have over here like multiple of it. So now let's try to see some other things, like let's say if over here now I will just name this one as number. Okay, so I will just name my variable as number, and over here I will type write a number. So now instead of string I want to work with a integer. So now if I come here and if I just type print, and over here now let's type number, as this is the variable. But here if you just take up a look, now if I want to check that whether it is a string or an integer, let's come here and let's type, and let's come down over here, let's open this one as well, and now let's run this code. And over here if I just provide a number like 8, okay, and if I click on enter, you guys can see now this is not an integer. So over here if I want to do any mathematical or numerical equation, I won't be able to do this because this is a string instead of an integer. Okay, but over here if I want to work this one as an integer, in that case what I need to do is I need to come over here into my variable, and inside my variable, let's say I will come here, and now I will just open parenthesis, and outside I will just type int. Okay, so I will just type int, and now if I just run this code, here it's showing me an error because I do forgot to give another parenthesis right over here. Now, if I just run this one and over here now, if I just give a number and if I click on enter, you guys can see the data type now have changed from string to integer. So now let's say from here, let's come to this place, let's delete this one, and in the number option, what I can do is I can come here. Let's give it up a space. Let's click plus and I will just put 1. Okay, so I can just do some numerical equations right over here as well. So now let's run this one. Write a number. So I'll just write 6. And if I click on enter, once it is printing with the number, I am adding plus 1. But without this one, let's say if I come here and if I try to run this code. Okay, so let's come here and now let's try to run this one. It will show me an error. Okay, so let's come here, let's type 8, and if I click on enter here, it is showing me an error. Okay, so here it's showing me that this is a string, not an int. So once you're working with integer, you need to make sure that you're first creating this one integer, that you guys can work quite smoothly. So I'll just click and here you guys can see it is just adding 1 to the number. So any kind of operator you can use. You guys can use minus, you guys can do multiplication, and also you guys can create a lot of questions right over here as well. So yeah, I hope you guys to have understood this class on how you will be able to collect information from the user. So I hope to see you all in the next chapter. Till then, take care and goodbye, everyone.